This is Steve and Mike Fearon of Incoming Fire in association with Grave Concerns E-Zine, and today we're talking to Witness the Apotheosis.
Hello, this is Terrence and Zach from Witness the Apotheosis, coming to you live from Cyber Guys Studios.
Also known as Terrence's room.
Office.
Question 1. Who is your biggest influence?
I'd say more of my influence comes from authors, self-help authors like David Dita.
I get authors too, like Neil Gaiman or William Gibson, but mostly it's musical. People like Ronan Harris from V&V Nation or Zoog Von Rock from Angel Spit, people that actually help me influence how to make the music. And then I can go from there.
Speaking of which, I also get a lot from Tom Shear of Assemblage 23. He writes a blog, Waveformless.
Question 2. Sum up your music in one word.
Music.
Ours.
Done.
Question 3. Do you prefer hardware or software in your music production and synths?
We go with software pretty much exclusively. We don't have room for hardware, and we don't want to tote it around to shows either.
I feel like it's more important to know the theory. It doesn't really matter what you use it on. Ultimately, if you're a musician, it's more about the music that you make, not the tools that you use.
Hell, hang on a hollow log if you have to, but make music.
Question 4. If you could do the soundtrack to any film ever, what would it be?
It would have to be something dark and gothy, I guess, and industrial to go with our style, but ultimately I feel like when anybody says, I wish I had done the soundtrack to that film, they mean I wish I had made the soundtrack that is already in that film. I think we might have to have a brand new movie for us to do the soundtrack.
I don't know, I think you could take a look at a movie that's already out there and be like, hey, I think we could have done something a little more interesting with that. Personally, I'd like to go back and redo the soundtrack for The Other Sister. I think that would be a good movie to explore our type of music.
I think it'd be great if we could just do a soundtrack for a film. So if anybody's listening in Hollywood, please pay us money.
We're for sale!
Question 5. What drives you to make music?
What year's your car, Zach?
It's a 98 Camry?
Toyota, right?
Yeah, Toyota.
Yeah, that gets us there.
Yeah, it's a good car.
Got us as far as Alabama.
Yes,
Not too shabby.
I would invest in Toyota if you were an electronic musician.
There you go.
In all seriousness, I just love getting on stage and making music that I love to listen to and pushing it out to a room full of people that are going to dance to it.
I enjoy the composing process a whole lot, just sitting down, messing with stuff, and playing with it until you get something you like, writing the lyrics, and making it all come together, seeing it happen, and making people dance. I love it.
Question 6. What's unique about your band?
Well, the thing I like the most is we only have 2 people. When you have 3 people, you have politics. We don't have to worry about making sure that everybody's got an instrument written for them. We can pretty much figure out everything we need to figure out between just the 2 of us, which gives us a great deal of flexibility when we're working on music.
And we don't have the typical electronic music instruments on stage. There's not some guy punching away on a synth or somebody on a guitar. There's Terrence on vocals, myself on cello, and the music that we've spent hours and hours composing that's filling it all in between. And I think that makes for a very different show. Something that you don't always see.
Question 7. What was the last album you listened to all the way through?
I recently listened to Ice and Tilla Dying and Falling Again. I highly recommend Ice and Tilla for anybody that hasn't heard them. And before that I listened to Culture Culture's Spirit. It's their newer album, and that's just some great electronic dance on the club music.
I tend to listen to individual songs. I think the last album I listened to in its entirety was Pink Floyd's The Wall when I was about 17, 18, and in that stage that everybody goes through where they sit down, listen to The Wall, and say, oh my god, I just discovered the coolest band, man, and I'm really cool because I know about this and no one else does.
Hipsters have always existed.
Question 8. What was the last live show you saw?
That was actually one we did back in January. I don't get out too much, but we did a show with Red December, so I got to watch those guys, and they were great. It was such a pleasure listening to them and watching them on stage. Great music and stage presence.
Definitely. The last show I saw was Aesthetic Perfection, Faderhead, and Everything Goes Cold. 3 very different artists that I recommend, all for very different reasons.
Question 9. What's the song you own that you think would surprise people the most?
There's a lot of music I own that would probably surprise people, ranging from Barry Manilow's Coco Cabana to a bunch of other stuff. I think one of my favorites that would surprise people would be Strawberry Alarm Clocks, Incense and Peppermints, psychedelic music from the 60s.
I feel like a lot of the music I have wouldn't really surprise people. It's a lot of electronic industrial music, dark wave, synth pop, 80s new wave. I think the one song I have that would surprise people the most is a popular modern song, Fuck You by CeeLo Green. It's, in my opinion, the best piece of modern popular music that has come out. It's bringing back Motown to the radio waves. Not many people can do that.
Question 10. What is the best way to combat illegal music downloads?
And what is the best way to combat the wind? I don't think you're going to combat it. I think you're just going to make a lot of people mad. You're not really going to win. So go with the flow and figure out how to make it work to your advantage. I think the future of music is probably going to include making recordings available digitally as more of an advertisement for your live shows and merchandise.
We've had this discussion a lot trying to come up with an answer because it comes up a lot because we're musicians. And here's the only way you're going to combat illegal music downloading. First of all, you're never going to get rid of it. So, you're either going to have to make sales on your physical CDs by offering package deals more, giving people things that they can't download. You can't download a bumper sticker. You can't download a shirt. Package these things together and you can sell your CDs. But most importantly, realize that it is more important to have limited income and a lot of fans than just limited income with no fans. The music that is being illegally downloaded, a lot of these people are coming to your shows and probably buying your stuff. That's how I got into a lot of the artists that I currently buy. That's how I knew I wanted to start making electronic music. You want to accept this because otherwise you're going to start losing it. And who are you to lose it?
Question 11. If you could slap one person with no consequences, who would it be?
Well, the truth of the matter... Hey!
And that's my answer.
All right. Yeah, for me, it's nobody you'd know. Of course, we could go with all the typical boring, so-and-so politician, such and such religious leader. But yeah, of course, we'd all like to smack them. But
That's so cliched.
we're not going to go there.
Question 12. What would be your dream gig lineup?
Well, of course, we'd have to be in it.
Of course.
Otherwise, it's not much of a dream.
We can see everybody, but we can't be in everything.
But we can dream.
Yes.
I'd like to play a show with Angel Spit and Ego Likeness. I think that would be an awful lot of fun.
That would definitely be one of my favorites. My dream beyond possibility would probably be VNV Nation and Cell Dweller. I would love to do Angel Spit and Ego Likeness as well. I have too many people that I really like and would really love to share this stage with. If we could just tour and just start grabbing all these groups of people that we like in different cities and doing shows with them, that would be the most ideal. Book us.
Question 13. Is MySpace still a relevant service and social network, or is it a relic from the past?
Tempted to go with Dinosaur since I'm not using it very much, but there still are people on there.
Every now and again, I'll put our most recent song on MySpace so that the people that are still on MySpace might stumble across it. But I think that the social media, social networking for bands has moved on to Facebook and Reverb Nation and other places. MySpace is sort of drifted to the back, but it's still important because, like Terrence said, there are still people there. And you have to say hi every now and again.
Question 14. If you could have one piece of musical gear regardless of cost, what would it be?
For me, hands down, electric cello. I love my old wooden cello, but it's so heavy, very heavy, and electrical cellos are so nice and light.
For me, it would be actually something that's not probably a piece of gear. We have all the gear we need, but I would like to have a studio that is a dedicated, big, good-sized studio with like a big bay window overlooking an honest-to-goodness bay. I think that would be a very nice working environment and definitely conducive to making some good music.
Because what we're in right now is so hot.
And it's kind of small. It's my office. It's crowded with books and all sorts of things.
And you can't see us sweating right now. Like, sweat would be dripping off of the waveforms if we would translate. It's so hot.
Yes, we have to turn off the air conditioner to be able to record, so it gets a little toasty in here.
Please bring us ice cream.
Oh, ice cream. I like ice cream.
Let's ditch the interview and go get ice cream.
Ice cream!
Ice cream!
I like ice cream.
We'd like to thank Witness the Apotheosis and wish them well in the future.